Today we are starting Unit 3, which is on mass, temperature, and volume. But the main goal for today is to convert temperatures between Celsius and Fahrenheit. To do that, we follow formulas. So our conversion formulas from Celsius to Fahrenheit reads as the F represents your degrees in Fahrenheit, which is usually what you're trying to find if you're using this formula, equals 9 divided by 5 times C, and C represents our Celsius measurement, and then you add 32. So let me just say, okay, so C is equal to your degree in Celsius, and F is your degree in Fahrenheit. So if you are trying to find what the degree is in Fahrenheit, you're going to use this first formula. But if you're trying to find what the degree is in Celsius, you're going to use the second formula. Now, a big difference between the two is you need to follow order of operations. So if you guys remember bed mass, basically you need to do your brackets first. And then you do your division and multiplication depending on what comes first, and then you add and subtract depending on what comes first. So with this second formula, the first step is to complete what's in the brackets first. Whereas in the first formula, the first step is to have to multiply first. And I'll go through the steps while we're doing an example together. Now, just to give us a little bit of a difference between Celsius and Fahrenheit, if we look at these two different thermometers, Celsius is what's common here in Canada. But basically, at 0 degrees, it's when water is going to freeze. Our normal body temperature is 37 degrees. So if you feel that you have a fever, you're going to be over that 37 degrees. And then water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Now in Fahrenheit, water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Your normal body temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, and water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's do some examples together. So the first one is saying convert the following 450 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. So Celsius is our unknown. That's the one we want to find. So you're going to use this top formula here. Celsius is equal to 5/9 times the degree in Fahrenheit minus 32. Now we already know the degree in Fahrenheit is 450, so we can put that into the formula. Instead of the F, I'm going to put 450 minus 32. So this is where our first step is to do brackets. So we're going to subtract 450 minus 32. So we have 5/9 times 418. 450 minus 32 gives you 418. Your second step is you're going to multiply. Now this is 5 times 418. So 5 times 418 gives 2,090. And we still have the 9 at the bottom there. This then creates a division. So your third step is to divide. So then that gives us 2,090 divided by 9 is 232 degrees Celsius. So 232 degrees Celsius is equivalent to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's how you use that formula. The next example is giving us Celsius, and they want us to convert to Fahrenheit. So it's the F that is our unknown. So it's the second formula here that we're going to use. So if I go F equals 9/5 times the C, and my C is given, it's a minus 250 plus 32. So now in this case, we don't have, I put brackets here, but there's no operation to do in the brackets. So we need, the first step is to multiply. So you're going to multiply 9 times negative 250. So 9 times negative 250 gives us a negative 2,250 divided by 5 plus 32. So now BEDMAS tells us that we need to divide before we add. So the second step is to divide. So that gives us a negative 2,250 divided by 5 gives me a negative 450. And now I need to add 32. So my third step is to add. Make sure you keep that negative there. Negative 450 plus 32 gives me a negative 418 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's step by step how you would follow those formulas. So now that I've shown you that, I'm going to go a little quicker on these next ones. So this next example is 140 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit, again, is our unknown. So we need to take this formula from the bottom. So Fahrenheit is equal to 9 over 5 times my degree in Celsius, which is 140, plus 32. So step by step, we multiply first. 9 times 140 gives me 1,260. I write down what I have left. Then I need to divide. 1,260 divided by 5 is 252. And then finally, I add the two together, which gives me a temperature of 284 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's how you do that. Now I want to convert 72 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So again, it's the same step process as the previous example where Fahrenheit is our unknown. So we're going to use the bottom formula here. It's the F we want to find. So F is equal to 9 over 5 times 72 plus 32. So we start with our steps. We multiply first. 9 times 72 gives us 648. Then I divide 648 divided by 5 gives me 129.6. And then finally I add the 32, which gives me 161.6. Usually with temperatures, we round to the degree. So I could round that to 162 degrees Fahrenheit. Now here's another example on converting it to Celsius. So I have 86 degrees Fahrenheit and I want to convert it to Celsius. So Celsius is our unknown, so we need to take the first formula. C is equal to 5 over 9 times my degree in Fahrenheit, which is 86, minus 32. Now don't get mixed up, but for this one, we have to do what's in brackets first. Because of BEDMAS, we do brackets first. So 86 minus 32 gives me 54. Then I can multiply the 5 times the 54, which gives me 270. And then finally do my division, 270 divided by 9, which gives me 30 degrees Celsius. So always go back to that first example where I wrote the steps. And if you follow those steps, then you'll never make a mistake. All right, so now let's attack a couple word problems here. So example 2 says, while traveling in the US, Jennifer and Richard are concerned because their daughter Isabella has a temperature of 390 degrees Celsius. So they take her to a medical clinic. The nurse takes Isabella's temperature on the Fahrenheit scale. What will Isabella's temperature be in degrees Fahrenheit? Now, obviously 390 degrees is a little unrealistic because usually your body temperature is 37, so 390 would be crazy, crazy high. But we're going to solve this problem anyway. So the Fahrenheit is the one that we want to find. So we'll go with the bottom formula here. F is equal to 9 over 5 times my degree Celsius, which is 390, plus 32. So following our steps, we do 9 times 390 to start, which gives me 3,510. Then we divide by 5. And then you add them together. So it gives me a temperature of 734 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, last example. Harpreet is transporting frozen food from Los Angeles to Vancouver in a refrigerated truck. The external temperature in Los Angeles is 900 degrees Fahrenheit when he leaves. He knows that the safest temperature for preserving the frozen food is between 0 degrees Fahrenheit and minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. When he arrives at the Canadian border, the border guard determines the temperature of the truck to be in negative 190 degrees Celsius. Is this within the acceptable range of temperature for preserving frozen food? Give your answer to the nearest half of a degree. So basically, we need to convert this minus 190 degrees Celsius and see if it's within this range of 0 to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit is again our unknown, so we are going to take the second formula here. 9 over 5 times negative 190 plus 32. So let's multiply first. 9 times negative 190 gives me a negative 1,710. Then I divide by 5, gives me negative 342. And then finally we add, and again, don't forget the negative when you're adding here. It gives a negative 310 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, obviously, we are far from this range, and so I don't think he'll be preserving his food very well. He will be freezing it way too much. So some of these problems are a little unrealistic, but still, you just find the numbers, find what you need to answer, and use the formulas to convert your temperatures. And that's it. So that's all there is to converting Celsius to Fahrenheit and Fahrenheit to Celsius. So now you can go ahead and do your practice.